Update 2 on Cyclone Alessia over the Australian coast right now in the Western Australian region at the moment, though it's expected to enter the Northern Territory part of the country in the next 24 hours. Currently with winds of 45 miles per hour straddling the northern coast there with a pressure of 993 millibars. Its current position is 14.0 degrees south, 126.7 degrees east as of 9 PM UTC November 23rd, that's 6 AM local time. The storm's expected to move into the Northern Territory region just south of Darwin over the next 24 hours or so, and we have cyclone warnings in effect for the whole coastline around that area, with the Mitchell Plateau in Western Australia eastward to Point Stewart in the Northern Territory, including the Tiwi Islands as well, which are those islands just offshore to the north, not too far from Darwin. So that's the current situation there. We could be seeing some heavy rain occurring. That will be the main threat from the storm. Sea surface temperatures around the coastline are fairly warm, around 30, maybe even 31 degrees Celsius. So certainly warm enough to sustain itself, though that's probably not going to be its main inhibitor. Its main inhibitor will probably be land interaction and possibly some dry air intrusion as well. So let's look at the computer models then. A CMC model, first of all, has two systems forming by the looks of things, or rather one forming, and Alessia continuing onto the Gulf of Carpentaria, where it could possibly regenerate a little bit before making landfall on the Cape York Peninsula, with another storm forming out over in the South Pacific area. And the GFS model has Tropical Storm Alessia making landfall in the Northern Territory and possibly regenerating as it moves back out to sea by the looks of things. Either that or it's a different system entirely that forms and then skirts pretty much the way it just came down towards the southwest in the next few days. It'll certainly be interesting to see if either of those scenarios come to fruition. So this is the latest satellite imagery of the past few hours centred on the storm. You can see it there, straddling the coast of Australia, and you can see a bit of a flare-up in the past hour or two. Those last few frames near the centre of the storm, certainly interesting to see the central core of the storm still fighting to keep going as it moves along the coast of Australia there. You can see some dry air off towards the southwest of the storm, which could be causing complications, coupled with the inevitable land interaction, which will obviously not be doing the storm any favours in that regard either. But along the coast there, you could be seeing some heavy rainfall, possibly some strong winds occurring there as well, at least 45 miles per hour sustained towards the centre of the storm with higher gusts. So as of November 23rd at 9 PM UTC, we have no storms out in the Western Hemisphere at the moment. It's all going on in the Eastern Hemisphere, where we have two systems, Tropical Cyclone 5B, which has formed in the Indian Ocean, in the Andaman Sea, and of course Tropical Cyclone Alessia, which is currently moving over the Australian coastline, as you've already seen. This is the Australian region overview. It's the only real thing going on at the moment. One or two little disturbances along the northern coastlines towards the northeast as well. You can see a little bit of a disturbance there, which could possibly form over the next few days if one of the models are to be believed. 2013/14 compared then. We haven't entered 2014 yet, but that will happen fairly soon. One tropical storm so far, no systems reaching hurricane intensity or hurricane equivalent intensity, and no major hurricane equivalent storms either forming this year so far, but it is very early days. It's the first storm to form, of course, and the season goes on until the early to middle part of next year. So you can track this storm at the website force13.com/stormtracking.html. That's the main page for all the storm tracking information on every storm out there, tropical or post-tropical, or even areas of interest that could develop into tropical storms over the next few days. You can also find us elsewhere on the web at Facebook and Twitter. To search Force 13 on either of those mediums, and you should find the pages fairly easily enough on there. If you have any questions or any comments that you want to send directly to me, you can do so by sending a private message through YouTube or by the contact form on the Force 13 website. Until the next update, which will probably follow at around the same time tomorrow, 9 PM UTC, if necessary that is, 6 AM Central Australian time, that's all for now.